planning of the terrorist groups. Of the terrorist groups. And here they still destroy little things to get there, to make sure that they are still known, to make sure that they still influence world politics. And these are the destruction of, small things like churches, shopping centers, gas stations, banks, things that we don't really hold high value to because we have so many of them, but they still destroy, kill lives, 20, 30 people at a time. But now I want to move into how it's evolved even more so. And even more so, it's evolved into what Keegley and Blanton know as two types of terrorism: non-explosive warfare and cyber terrorism. Non-explosive warfare is chemical, biological, and radiological weapons which aim at destroying the enemy's overall health by implementing long-term permanent illnesses such as cancer, disease, viruses, plagues, things of that nature. The other type is cyber terrorism. These two types of new terrorist acts have actually revealed themselves in the past 5 or 6 years. And cyber terrorism is the destruction of an enemy's telecommunications or computer networking system that they see as vital to their enemy's strategic military defense or their overall economic well-being. And I believe this type of terrorism is actually the hardest to fight because innovation or technology it's always reinventing itself. There's always a new update you need on your iPhone. There's always a new computer. I mean, these computers, I think they work well, and I thought they were brand new, but they're actually 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, computers are always new. Technology is always new. However, I want to now turn to the implications of terrorism domestically and how they actually cut to the core surface of democracy and democracy practices. Kennedy, Nizam, and our colleagues published an article in the Journal of Conflict Resolution which pointed to how terrorism actually destructs democracy domestically. And I want to just use September 11th as an example. When we found out who conducted September 11th, we pointed to the culprit, and we actually separated ourselves from the culprit, like we do, right? They're the bad, and we're the good. They're the evil, and we do good in this world. However, once we do that, we undermine minorities. And with that, anybody in the United States that looks or has something similar to that terrorist group, we label them as terrorists. So, I mean, you'll see jokes on it in movies and TV shows, but it's actually real. If you see someone go into an airport who practices the Muslim faith and is wearing a turban and maybe has a darker complexion and has a big beard, I guarantee you when they walk through security, they're going to be taken aside and searched even more. They're going to be questioned even more thoroughly than you and I would. And this isn't different from the U.S. The U.S. is no foe to this. Back in 1940, we did the same thing. We stereotyped all Japanese. We threw about 140,000 Japanese in internment camps for 3 years during World War II because we thought anybody who was Japanese were spies. They were releasing U.S. information back to the Japanese state. However, in hindsight, we know this isn't true. Actually, all the Japanese in those camps, none of them were spies, and actually the only spies in World War II were of non-Japanese descent. And this is a problem domestically, and it harms democracy at its core value, and it really undermines what the United States was founded on, which is freedom, the freedom to practice any religion you want, make a living any way you want, find a job any way you want as well. But to wrap it up, I want to turn to the main question is, how do we defeat terrorism? Does anybody have any radical answers or any explanation? No? I think it's just as silent in the White House as well, because we've been fighting this war on terrorism since I was about 10 years old, and I'm going to be 23 in September. The truth is, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, terrorism cannot be defeated. I even think of stopping terrorism as stopping like Michael Jordan from making a basket. He's just too damn good. He's going to get a basket off. He's going to score at least 2 or 3 points in a game. And the same with terrorism. We may block everything from terrorism, but eventually 1 or 2 of their things is going to get through and is going to harm us. But how we stop terrorism from threatening us even more so is that we stay persistent in the fight. We don't give up, and we continue to take the fight to them. And rather them instilling the fear into us, it should be reversed. We should be instilling the fear into the terrorist groups. Thank you. That was really long. Thank you, guys.